The Red Sox' next move has just been revealed as Craig Breslow promised Red Sox fans that after the Rafael Devers trade, that the financial flexibility he gained would be used to make the Red Sox buyers at the trade deadline, and this name has continued to pop up. Welcome into Red Sox Digest. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you joining us. Before we get going today, Yankees Digest came at me yesterday and challenged us and said, yeah, I know your channel's doing great. 190 subscribers over the past 3 days. You're almost to 2,700. Yeah. You're not going to get to 3,000 subscribers anytime soon. And I said, screw that. We're way better than Yankees Digest. We're going to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of the week. So help me stick it to Yankees fans and to Yankees Digest. We're about 300 or so away, 350 away from 3,000 subscribers. I'd certainly appreciate if you could help me out to stick it to Yankee fans and hit that subscribe button. Okay, let's talk about Mr. Craig Breslow because man, oh man, has he been the talk of the town lately. And, well, let's just say he is not a popular person among some folks right now, even inside the Red Sox organization. Now, we can sit here and say Rafael Devers did not handle the situation right, and that's why he was traded. We can sit here and say the front office did not handle the Rafael Devers situation right, and ultimately they decided to trade him instead of trying to fix the problem. Either way, it's he said, she said, and it doesn't matter anymore. Rafael Devers is in the West Coast, and the Red Sox, once again, are at a position where they are 500 ball in the middle of the season and wondering, are they buyers or are they sellers? Well, Craig Breslow, again, chief baseball officer, the guy who claimed a lot that this was going to be a playoff team, we were going to make the playoffs, doubled down saying we are buyers at the trade deadline and that the financial flexibility the Red Sox gained from getting Rafael Devers off the payroll will now be used during the 2025 trade deadline, or at least as early as. We go to the quote from Mr. Craig Breslow as he says this, saying, quote, I think we're absolutely going to look at the best use of those resources. Talking about the financial flexibility that he gained by the Devers trade. And he says, and we could put them to use as early as the 2025 trade deadline, end quote. Okay, so a couple of questions out there. Obviously, he thinks we're buyers. Obviously, the Red Sox are in a position where it could go either way. And there are some speculations out there about Jarren Duran. There are some speculations out there about trading Alex Bregman or Aroldis Chapman. But we're going to go with Craig Breslow today. We're going to talk about the Red Sox and being buyers because even MLB's Mark Feinsand released an article saying, with financial flexibility, what will the Red Sox do next? And he listed 4 different trade topics and trade guys that the Red Sox go out and get. Now, we already talked about one of them, and that's Josh Naylor. We mentioned that on a previous video, so if you missed that, go back and watch that one. It's on our channel. But we're going to focus in on one other guy. However, everybody kind of talking about this Rafael Devers trade, and it's been really blown up across the media. It's been interesting, though, because an NL executive came out and told Mark Feinsand this quote, saying, what the general public never factors into their knee-jerk trade reactions is what the teams trading away the large contract can now go do with those dollars. Boston should go trade for someone like, Brewers first baseman Rhys Hoskins right now. Then the deal takes on a whole new dimension, end quote. Now, you can sit here and say that, yeah, if they trade for some people, it looks better. But you can also say Rafael Devers and Rhys Hoskins are not comparable in terms of batting or really any sense of the word in an MLB landscape. But Rhys Hoskins is definitely a trade piece that I think the Red Sox could go after. And when you look at their roster right now and their depth chart, I think overall, first base is the piece that could use some stability at it. Now, we'll talk about it later in the video. I love Abraham Toro. I love Romy Gonzalez, and I think them platooning there has been the best positional alignment for them and the best positional alignment the Red Sox have had at first base in, honestly, the past couple of years because Casas hasn't been healthy and there just hasn't been stability at that position. But at the same time, Rhys Hoskins, who is having a very good year, could easily be a trade topic for the Boston Red Sox. And that's kind of where the discourse starts. So let's first look at the outside of Rhys Hoskins and his stats, his attributes, all that stuff. Now, he is 32 years old, but this year his on-base percentage is high. He's got 12 home runs, 40 RBI, 61 hits in 246 at-bats. He's done really solid for what he's expected as a first baseman for the Brewers. Now, has he slowed down a little bit over the past month or so? 1000%. That is not something to take lightly. He has definitely slowed down, and it's a little bit harder to maybe see him as a fit for the Boston Red Sox. However, he's a good defensive first baseman. He can hit well. He has power in his bat. He's having a good year. He's on a contract year. And the Red Sox could get him for probably pretty cheap for the Milwaukee Brewers, who are in a tight division, but the Cubs are leading that NL Central by a pretty substantial margin at this point. So, in that case scenario, does Boston try and do it? Well, that's where the questions come in. And Mark Feinsand kind of talks a little bit about this trade in his article, saying, quote, Hoskins is earning $18 million this season and has an $18 million mutual option with a $4 million buyout, leaving him as a likely free agent after this season. The 32-year-old has 11 home runs, which now is 12, 38 RBIs, and a 757 OPS in 71 games. This is a very good stat line for a guy you're trying to trade for. And yes, do I think Romy and Abraham Toro are great? Do I think that I would love to have them over there? Yes. But Romy can play third. Romy can play second. And I love Toro. Don't get me wrong. I love Toro. But when you have a chance to get a bat like this, where over his career, his batting average is, 239, but this year batting 248, his OPS at 779, he is having a good year for a lot of different metrics. His WAR is up to 0.9 after last year being down negative. So I believe this would be a good option. And the big thing for me, and the reason why I think this trade is a really viable option, and this is where we go into the Abraham Toro discussion. I don't know if Toro is going to be this good for as long as we think he is. Now, Mark Feinsand talked about it in the beginning of the article, stating why Abraham Toro is the one position that he doesn't believe will be safe with the Red Sox. He says, quote, Abraham Toro has been productive in his 26 games at the Red Sox, hitting 4 home runs, 10 RBI, and an 830 OPS. But his track record makes it far from certain that he can keep that up for 3+ months, end quote. And he's got a point. And so when you look at Abraham Toro and you think, okay, what exactly is going on with him? Well, he's gone downhill over the past 30 games. His last 30 games, 309. That's great. His last 15 games, okay, 288. Slugging's at 475. Okay, that's not bad, though. That's a good, for a guy you're not expecting to do much, that's good. In his last 7 games, he has 5 hits in 26 ABs, 6 strikeouts, a 192 average, and a 231 slugging with a 250 on-base percentage. He is starting to go downhill. Now, I know there's Christian Campbell in the minor leagues that they are trying to prep and bring him as a first baseman, but if Craig Breslow is certain about this team being a playoff potential, then there's a couple of things he needs to go out there and do, and I think one of them is potentially going after a first baseman. Now, again, Toro is great, and the good news about this, the trade deadline is still a month away. And so if you look at Abraham Toro in a month from now, and his stats have either gotten better from, the past 15 games or leveled off to a substantial margin of, say, batting 278 with a, say, 690, 700, 720 OPS, then you're probably looking at him saying, okay, that's viable to the point that we can have him and Romy platoon at first base and not have to worry about going out and making a trade for a Rhys Hoskins, a Josh Naylor, a Ryan O'Hearn. Instead, they just keep that. But if you come to a month from now in which Toro is maybe taking a step back, maybe Romy isn't playing as good as he has been, and even if he is, he can play multiple positions, and don't tell me that Abraham Toro can play third base. He is a great first baseman, and I would love to see him there. But dear God, I cannot watch him play third base anymore. I can't have that. And so, Toro is limited to that first base option. Getting Rhys Hoskins does not mean you have to bench Toro forever. You can still play him. That DH role is open. There's a potential you do trade Jarren Duran. So there's a lot of question marks still to be answered for the Boston Red Sox. And one of them is their first base. And what exactly is going to happen? So it's a big question mark. But this is where I bring you into the discourse. Do you believe that Rhys Hoskins is a viable option for the Boston Red Sox? Is he somebody that you could see Boston trading for? Is the first base position something that you want the Red Sox to trade for? And the final question, and it's a big one, and it's probably one I'll ask again in maybe the next video or video from now. Are the Red Sox buyers or are the Red Sox sellers? Craig Breslow promised that they were going to be buyers a little bit too early. The Red Sox were riding high. You sweep the Yankees. You'd won 5-6 in a row at that point. You were winning your last 5 series. You promised that. Okay, that's great. And then you trade away your best hitter. I understand there's backcourse behind that, whatever. Besides the point, you trade away your best hitter, and then you proceed to lose 2 out of 3 to the San Francisco Giants. You lose your first one in abysmal fashion, thanks to Walker Buehler against the Anaheim Angels, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, whatever you want to call them. Where does the line draw? When are the Red Sox buyers? When are the Red Sox sellers? Are they going to be both? Or, as we've seen for the past 4 years now, the Red Sox have just been mid. They've been 500. They've been right at the very tip of buyers and sellers, and so they've ended up doing minimal moves, in which has not helped or hurt the team that much, and now we sit here. What do they do? Do they go out? Do they sell Jarren Duran? Do they sell even Alex Bregman if they don't think they're going to sign him back? Do they sell Aroldis Chapman? I mean, they get some really good pieces back. Or do they go out and they use the password, Johingston Garcia, use him as a trade piece? Do they go out and try and trade Franklin Arias or some of these younger pitchers in the minor leagues and try and get somebody to help them out? To believe that Kyle Harrison is going to be their trade piece. Is he's going to come in? Is he going to be the number 2? We haven't had a number 2 on the Boston Red Sox, and yeah, Giolito's been great, and Bello's been great his past couple starts, but Crochet is far and away the number 1, and the number 2 is a little bit of a question mark. Do they go out and try and get some pitching? Do they go out and try and get some relieving help? Because, as we've seen, Greg Weissert kind of starting to run down a little bit. They absolutely pitched Garrett Whitlock into the ground last night, made him throw 40-plus pitches. It's a very interesting situation for Craig Breslow, and I don't envy his situation because he created this for himself. And now, as fans, we have a right to want a playoff. We have a right to want a playoff game. And I truly don't know for a 4th year in a row, whatever it is, if we're going to get it. And these next 3, 4, 5 weeks as we enter in towards the trade deadline are absolutely huge. And if the Red Sox perform well, that's great. We're going to see some trades that are going to bring some people over to the Red Sox. If they're not good, be ready. Because if you're a Jarren Duran lover, if you're a Alex Bregman, Aroldis Chapman, a couple other names that you could float around in the bullpen, Justin Wilson, they could be traded, and it could be a very sudden switch. So, guess we'll have to find out and wait. And while we wait, we'll have you covered on everything Boston Red Sox news. Once again, you made it to the end of the video, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of the week. Don't let Yankees Digest win. Don't let them win. We were winning on the field. Let's win on the streets as well. We appreciate you watching, and we will see you next time right here on Red Sox Digest. Peace out from Beantown.